here to set you free.
There are no paths between lions and men.
You may just be my new best friend.
Very old friend.
I wouldn't say friends.
Let us pledge that the winner will allow the loser all the proper funeral rituals.
Totally did, right?
No.
Now you know who you're fighting.
The king in the north!
You're in my team.
Hey, sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are
Did it
gray.
ever once occur to you that I might have some insight?
What should I do differently?
I don't know. I don't know anything about battles.
That's good advice.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Welcome to the Justin Thomas Show. This is Justin Thomas. This is our pilot episode for the segment YouTube Confidential. YouTube Confidential is a segment where we take an inside look at some of your favorite YouTube channels, as well as some of the channels that are up and coming. Today we have Tarzan from Trial by Trivia, a trivia show that covers fandoms such as Game of Thrones, Westworld, Disney, Star Wars, and more. Alright, today I'd like to welcome to the show the host of Trial by Trivia, Tarzan. Tarzan, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me. And again, I am Tarzan from Trial by Trivia.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Trial by Trivia and a little bit about yourself, how you started the show?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I moved out west with not a damn thing to do about 2 years ago, and just laying there watching a lot of my favorite YouTubers and stuff like that, and came up with this batshit crazy idea that I wonder how much knowledge they actually have. I lived in Mississippi for years, and I was heavily involved with a club that, not Sons of Anarchy type shit, but basically doing non-profit type stuff, and I thought maybe it'd be something crazy to try to bring that to YouTube by doing tournaments, putting YouTubers against each other. We did pretty good in probably about 3.5 months' time. We got about 750, 770 subscribers from doing it. We took, oh shit, man. I mean, we got declined as well, but we weren't kind of, we took whoever wanted to do it. I mean, we had because.
So you went from 0 people to almost 800?
Yeah,
that's quite a jump from what I understand for YouTube. For how many weeks was that?
I say the span of the tournament, which you're looking at about like 2.5 months, I guess, roughly somewhere in there, 3 months.
How'd you go about recruiting these YouTubers?
Wow, shit! I joined a couple chat rooms. I met a couple people. I got involved with the Game of Thrones Amino app, and then I just started asking people on the back end of their channels. And, back then, shit, I barely knew how to copy and paste. So it was just a whole learning process to begin with. Then I just started shouting out to certain YouTubers, and some responded well and some didn't. Got in touch with a charity called Guardian Angels Medical Service Dogs, and they were completely on board, and they were Game of Thrones fans, and that's just kind of what got the ball rolling.
So when you say some didn't respond well, what do you mean by that?
Because
just not at all, or were they rude? I mean, how do you even go about it? Do you leave a message on their message boards? Are you emailing them?
Catching them on Google Hangouts. You go to the about section on their pages.
Had you been watching it for years, or how new was this platform even? Was it a new platform for you?
I think I was probably just like everybody else here and there. I'd watch, but the last 2 years, I guess you could say I really started, when I moved out here, there ain't shit out here, I'm in the middle of the desert. And, on the back half of the house here, I usually watch everything through, Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I'd say about 2 years I started watching channels like Smokescreen and Val when she first came up, and, started watching the small council, stuff like that, and just trying to get a little more in depth.
Yeah, because I for one love Game of Thrones, and I've been probably familiar with, I probably started with History of Westeros about 3 years ago, and when I looked at the list of people you had, before I had actually met you, I was very impressed that a channel that was under 1,000 subscribers, because really in YouTube, if you don't have in at least 10K, 20K.
I'll put it to you like this. The funny part about it is you got to remember before this tournament started, we didn't even have fucking 100 subscribers. Okay. We had nothing. Matter of fact, when I first started recruiting people, I think I maybe had 10 or 12 that were friends. You know what I mean? So I started out with, there was a group on there called the Hypes Watch, and I kind of got in their chat rooms and kind of threw the idea around. And one of the guys on there, and I don't know, I've always been very competitive, and those people that tell you, you can't do this. I turn around and say, watch me. And Don the Kraken Wit, he was like, this is a great idea. He says, but it'll never happen. And I think that was kind of really the kick in the ass that got me to like, oh, I'm going to make this happen no matter what, just to say, you can't say I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's interesting that you're just not going to get told no. And that really does motivate you, because a lot of people say that. They say, oh, that motivates me. But to tell you the truth, a lot of people, when they get shut down, they usually go home. There's always that one guy. Are you that one guy that really does? Are you Rocky? Do you really come back? Is that how you view yourself?
Oh, absolutely. When someone tells you no, you dig harder. That's been my whole fucking life story. When they try to kick you and stomp you, come back, you get your ass beat, you come back and knock on the door again the next day. You know what I mean? Eventually, you may not ever win, but at least you're going to get the respect of the people that, like, damn, all right, this dude's for real. You know what I mean? Back to like what you're saying real quick. I mean, the thing was, I think the big kicker that got people is like, look, I'm trying to do this. I don't want to gain any money out of this. Matter of fact, we'll get more into that, I'm sure, like with chat room trivia, any money that we have a Patreon and stuff like that, and we'd love to get more Patreon. But the thing is, the money that comes in, we put it right back in. We buy like Geek Fuel boxes and, stuff pertaining to what we're doing, gift cards, stuff like that. So nothing at this channel, and that's kind of hard to get good people on the channel because you can't pay them. Okay. You're not going to pay them. And, everything that you guys make goes right back into the community. And once I nailed the Guardian Angels medical service dogs, that got people interested. And they're like, look, he's for real. He has a link. He's got everything. I'm like, here's your contact sources. And they're based out of Florida, actually. And basically to, shout them out real quick, what they basically do is they train these dogs, and it costs like $22,000. It's $20,000 for the dog and another $2,000 to train the person to the dog. And basically what they do is, it's a lot of U.S. military people, usually. There are other people outside that box, too, that seems to get the best funding, I would guess, from that area. But basically, people with PTSD, limb lost,
So these are service dogs.
Yes, medical service dogs. Absolutely. They're all separate.
And what made you pick this charity? Is there a certain connection? Or I do understand that you did serve in the military for a period. Yeah,
exactly. I was in the Army 4 years. We've always had dogs. We used to raise shepherds once upon a time, and I have a dog now. Before, I got custody of my son, he was, kind of everything I had. So I get that. I understand that connection. But, my family, I was born basically with a German shepherd under the fucking crib. So I don't know. It's just, I'm into animals. I'm into that. And, I've seen, what they can do. And, that's really it, dude.
So just to do a recap, you moved out to New Mexico, which you call the fucking desert, which, I guess a lot of people would probably agree with you.
The land of entrapment.
And you were bored. Plain and simple. There's no fancy way to put it. You were bored. And you were watching YouTube, and you had been a fan of Game of Thrones, like many people are, and you were probably drawn. There's a lot of good YouTubers out there. I'm the same way. And you wanted to really see how much these people knew. That's kind of the type of guy you are, from what I get the feeling of. You're a lot of people say that's a real guy. That's a real dude. You hear that a lot. Oh, he's a real dude. And, and some people can act like a real dude real well. But I do get the sense from the time that we spoke that you are who you are. And, some people might not take to your personality well. And I think that what really set you apart is you went after these people that sometimes won't even speak to people when they're trying to help them advertise. And you had 12 subscribers. Had you ran a actual trivia match on the channel yet? Or was this just an idea? Were you presenting them with a platform that had been tested, or was it just an idea?
Well, that was definitely a couple of the hurdles in the beginning. Some of the members of the Hypes Watch were unclear about it, and I thought I was very clear in how I did it. So I was like, all right, no problem. So I made my first YouTube video, which was actually a little music video just to learn how to use, some of the movie makers and stuff, which is actually kind of bad. But
I saw an iMovie trailer that you did. I think and I did this too. I was guilty. I took the trailer option and it gives you the shots and it does the wide takes, the single shots, and it does the dramatic music. Was that one of them? Was that one of the original?
Actually, it was a cover song by, was it Disturbed? I think it was The Sound of Silence. I just took a lot of the kind of the more morbid death scenes, and now don't get me wrong, I think I did a really good job. It's just I didn't understand how to, kind of resolution and stuff like that with pictures, which of course now I know how to do. Like I said, I didn't know shit about a damn computer when I started this, and I just started playing with it and buying better equipment as I went along. And yeah, we did The Sound of Silence. That was my first take, and just an idea. Then after that, we did 2 promo videos explaining the how we were going to do it, and just kind of laying it down in video form. And everybody seemed to get it after I put it in video, which was kind of weird. I said it it didn't make sense to me, but shit, whatever works, I guess.
I started doing video editing in high school, and that's your first move, is to just use pretty much what's there as the pre-established, layouts, the themes, and the it's just interesting that you used, you were just learning how to use these programs, and you're approaching people that do have pretty high opinions of themselves. And some of them are great people, and some of them, are just probably sick of people coming up to them all the time, because I'm sure it's not the first time. But these are not the easiest people to get a hold of these days. This is not much different than trying to get somebody that's on TV. More people actually watch YouTube than watch, basic cable. So you came in, you were just learning to use these devices that the people that you're trying to convince to come on your show are actually, probably most of them are experts in, and you're making a trailer, you're doing it yourself. I mean, you didn't really have a lot of people at the beginning.
No. With you.
Did you have anybody in particular that came out right away and gave you a hand?
Oh, wow. Shit, man, let me think back and who. Well, there was a small group I kind of got in with through a chat room. I'd really rather not mention names because it did go kind of badly. It was kind of a betrayal type thing, and basically that was kind of the ground floor. And I did meet, like the hype swats and stuff through them. And I just started kind of talking to a couple of those guys and ran the idea around. There was a couple big YouTubers that seemed like they're on board, off board, and I mean, that's definitely a story for another day too. We've talked about that person. So
yeah. I don't want to have to get into any of that right now, at least, but I just want to make it clear for the people listening. Tarzan's a very talented guy, but he is your man's man. He is your regular guy. And like I said, he's a real dude. And you didn't have tech skills. It doesn't, obviously everybody can use a computer and everybody can do that. But if you've never had a reason to edit video before, or, set up these platforms and set up a YouTube channel, I mean, you're not going to be great at it. You're just not. I mean, I don't care who you are. Your first try, it's going to be sloppy. And when you're approaching people that, these people make a lot of money off these channels. They have Patreon people, they give them money. They pay their rent through these people. People will give them money just so they can quit their job so they can do the show full time. I mean, so when somebody approaches them, and now he did have his charity, which that's my next question. You came up to them and you did have your video and you had your charity pitch and you're a very convincing person yourself. But do you think, because what really was interesting to me when I first actually talked to you about it was when you said, I wanted to see how much they really knew. Because what I always thought is, that was smart. He got big YouTubers. So that's how this is all going to work. But then I thought, well, how the hell do you get big YouTubers on there? He had like 12 viewers. And so you went, and you weren't really going after them because they were big YouTubers. You were actually going after them because that's the type of guy you are. And you're like, well, I want to see how much these people know. It's like, you don't want to see what some schmuck knows. Yeah. You want to see what these people you wanted to see. I mean, it ended up being a great marketing tool because, of course, they have a lot of fans and you got some viewers out of it. But that wasn't your approach. And that would have been my approach. I would have been doing the big game hunting. I would have been going for the big fish because you get them in and then you figure you're going to bring everybody else in. But would you say it's fair to say it was your thought process to go after the people that you personally wanted to actually see how much they knew?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I would definitely say these, I mean, there was a couple of them. I mean, and God, you don't want to talk bad about anybody, so I just won't mention names. But some of them.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You like so much, and then you're like, oh, and you get like some shit-ass comment or response, and you're just like, fuck it. And you move on to the next one. I mean, one of them I could say is like, Val from Because Geek. She was just like, yeah, I love this idea, blah, blah, blah. And I pitched it at her, and then I ended up getting Chris too. So right there I had, at the time, I think Val only had like 25,000 subs, and then all of a sudden she just ballooned like a rocket during this process. Mm-hmm. And then Chris too, he went up to about 30 during this too. So it's, I had a base right there. I had, okay, look, I got these two people, and then other people started to fall into place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the marketing did work, but you really were going after the people. I mean, because of course you're a savvy guy too, So you probably did figure that, of course, once you got these people, they would come in. But it is interesting that wasn't really the main reason you went after these people. You did go after people because people like you're talking about, because I'm a big fan myself. You're talking about Chris Smokescreen. You're talking about Because Geek Val. These are two YouTubers that when you watch them, they do seem to be genuinely good people, and it is actually nice to hear it. When you hear about those stars, and you're like, oh, I heard they're nice. Isn't that nice? So these people are really nice. Those two are really good people because they come off in their videos, and not all of them do. So they actually were good to you. You didn't have to really harass them too much or do any begging or cater to them too much. They're not divas. And
actually, through this process, I've become pretty good friends with some of them. Actually, some of them I still talk to. Shit, we bullshit about whatever, video games or whatever, whatever the hell. Some of them have helped me get, further along in this process,
Absolutely.
But, I had another big shout out. I definitely, we had two people drop out, and I had to scurry to find two people, and I got James Johnson, James of Thrones, and LaDonna, both from the Small Council, and I couldn't have gotten luckier, because, and here's the thing, it isn't about subscribers, and it isn't about that. The big thing we wanted, and we're kind of learning our lesson too. We've made mistakes, and we've definitely dealt with some people I definitely won't deal with again, but, the thing is, with James and LaDonna, they were two of the most amazing, down-to-earth people that you would think they were a little more, I thought they were a little more uppity. Fuck no. They are two of the most down-to-earth, and we had such a great time. And the editing of that was a pain in the ass, because you try to get it down to about 20, 25 minutes. And the thing is, with James and LaDonna, it was like, we recorded a lot because we were bullshitting and having a good time during this whole tournament. And if you get a chance to see that match, it was just so much fun. And, we're hoping, maybe on the back end or in our Patreon, we're going to put a video up of like the behind scenes or the bloopers and the stuff that you didn't get to see, because it's absolutely fucking hilarious. Just good people.
So do you think that, pitting their egos against each other, in any way influenced at least a few of them to come out? Do you think that was, do you think a lot of them, I mean, cause I would feel that, in my area of expertise, that if somebody, brought over people that were on my level and, or claimed they're on my level and you want to test my skills, that would definitely be intriguing for me.
Maybe a little bit with the hype swats, I think a little bit, but a lot of them really were just on board because nobody had ever tried to do a live tournament online, and nobody had ever tried to say, you know what, we ain't in this to make money, okay? We might have to use them, but the thing is, we communicate with the Patreons, and look, how do you guys feel about, we have this person on the show that needs a new camera? You know what I'm saying? Whatever we do,
they're almost like sponsors or executive producers of your show, almost.
Exactly.
Is that from what I understand?
Exactly.
You need to run by the finances. They're going to invest, but maybe you need a iMac, say, and that's a higher budget item, but probably not out of the question for a lot of YouTubers or podcasters. And I would assume that you need to pitch why you need that. I mean, obviously we know it's very helpful, but they might not know. You'd probably have to give them reasons, and you need to show them what it's going to do to better the content, because in the end they're fans and they support what you do. So you need to show them. You need to pitch.
That's the funny you say that. You would think that, but believe it or not, you don't, because the one thing I've always done with everybody, and I've made my enemies, because you know what? I'm not going to be talked to and dealt with a certain way. It's just not who I am. I mean, if you're out of line, I'll tell you to fuck off. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just the way I am, I mean, but, you do.
But they wouldn't be out of line asking why you need $800 to $1,200 for an iMac.
But that was my point. My point is that, all the people that we do have like that, I haven't been uppity like some people have been in this community, okay? I have said, okay, you can contact me like you and I, you know what I mean? I met you in our chat room, same thing. It's like, sure, fucking hit me up. I'll talk to you. If you're a douche, I'll tell you, I don't know what else to tell you. And, you establish relationships that way. I'm not scared to talk to anybody. And the same damn person you get on the camera is the same person you get off the camera. I'm probably a little rougher off the camera. But, that's probably a good thing. Well, the other thing is too, you got a lot of them out there, and again, no names, but you got people that they're like a character on a TV show. Their YouTube persona is not who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not the case. It is what you get with us. And I definitely want to talk about, the other people that have come along to help me on this channel when we get there.
I just really wanted to touch on what, I'm not trying to downplay, or, down on your original situation. I really want to let people know, how much of I've been in this business, and that's an uphill battle I'm not a statistics guy, but I'd like to know the odds. I'm guaranteeing they weren't in your favor to actually get. How many people did you end up getting? So I want to get to the tournament. I want to get to how many people you got. We don't need to go into names right now, but I want to hear, how you ran it and, how it went, but, the odds were not with you for this. Anybody out there that wants to think that they can go around and get YouTubers that even have, like you said, Val only had 25,000, subs, but, I believe she was still probably around 60,000 to 80,000 views, on her videos. She always had high views.
Way more.
Subs sometimes don't, accurately. I don't believe you're paid by sub either. I think it's views and, obviously interaction.
I think she's about 60 grand right now. So.
Yeah. The point is, even if these people are the greatest people in the world, they still, a lot of people think, oh, it must be the easiest thing in the world. Just doing this podcast right now, me and Tarzan have really gotten to know each other, from now about 2 weeks, of just constant conversation, just, to get something like this going. It's not something that you can just do. It's not something that's easy. So these people, I don't want to come off as, they're all pompous assholes. But, when you run into people that are in show business, and trust me, YouTube is show business, there is that aspect, but even the nicest people in the world going and doing something for what Tarzan was, proposing, which was great with the charity and all that. And that's a great cause, but still, you had a pretty rough, presentation for, what it really was. It's a solid idea, but, there wasn't a lot of substance behind it. For all they knew, they were going and going to maybe have to do a lot of the legwork with the, audio and the video and stuff like that. But you convinced, every one of, I think only maybe 2 or 3 people out of my favorite YouTubers weren't a part of this, for whatever reason, whether you even went after them or not. But you really went up against the odds and you just got them. You got how many people?
16.
16. So anybody listening, go and try to get 16 YouTubers. I'll say even over 2,000 subscribers with like an average of 8,000, views on videos that are a month old. You know how that goes. So you really did beat the odds and you got it going. And, I've seen the tournament, but I'd like you to explain it for everybody listening, what the basic idea of it was, how you ran it. And I want to know, was it set in stone how you were going to do it, or did you kind of play it by ear?
The key thing really was, originally we were like, because I was nobody, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, but maybe we'll host it on other people's channels. And then I had a couple people talk to me, you should just do it yourself. And then,
yeah.
Make a long story short, that's what I did. I created my own channel. I had people say, you need a channel. I did it. So basically then I started meeting some people like Lola, who's just become one of my best fucking friends in the world. And, She lives in Uruguay, and my team started getting built of these people from like all over the place, which was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you seem to have a mini United Nations as your team.
Yeah, I found batshit crazy people from all over the planet. It's pretty cool. And that's kind of what you got to do to be part of this team. I mean, you really got to just kind of be down to earth and halfway intelligent and, you know what I mean, willing to put in the work. And you got to be a little crazy to put in the amount of work that's the one thing. Getting the YouTubers was nowhere near as hard as setting up the format and creating the you know, basically all the questions and how they go into this tournament. We had to make over 1,000 questions for this tournament. And that was many hours. I remember putting my kid down at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I was up when it was time for him to go to school, and then I'd go to bed.
How many questions altogether for this tournament?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000. You had 16 competitors. And how many weeks over?
Oh, shit. You have to ask me that. We ran about 2 weeks, so let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, about 2.5 months. 2.5, 3 months.
So how did you figure out who was going to go against who?
See, that's the bitch part. Everybody's like, how come you ain't got a bracket? I was like, okay, here's the problem you have when you want to have all these different YouTubers. Everybody has different availability schedules. A lot of these YouTubers, not all of them are based in the United States. Okay, so now you got the problem of when you could set them up. So basically what would happen is we try to, you know, find out whose availability. That took weeks to do just by itself. And then basically everyone's like, why you ain't got a bracket? I'm like, because whoever wins, I can't guarantee you that they could, you know what I mean? Even though these two people are available here, these two people may not be on the other end, depending on who wins. Does that make sense? So if you got somebody in fucking, you know, the West Coast, and then you got somebody over in Europe that's playing, that's a big gap, you know, when you go into the second round. So what you try to do, it's a lot easier to like, okay, you know, that's basically what we had to do. We kind of got lucky that what we did do, moving on, is that, you know, we kind of seeded people as they went. Whoever scored the most points in that round, we try to put them against the person that scored the lowest points in that round. And we got lucky, because once we got people in it, they actually, you know, a lot of times go, oh, you got time and da-da-da-da. But, you know, once you get them in it and they start winning, they start playing this thing, and they see, you know, when you got somebody like Val who starts moving through the ranks, and Chris, and, you know, a couple of the other ones, you know, some of the guys from the Hypes Watch, I mean, they're not a huge channel, but they're really fucking intelligent guys. And basically that's what you get.
Yeah, because just
want to play.
That brings me to the next point, actually. Did you find some people surprising? Because, I mean, it is YouTube and it is entertainment, and, you know, just like quality TV shows sometimes can be canceled after a season or sometimes one episode. Just because you are good at what you do or knowledgeable, out of chance that comes into it. There's a lot of things you could do right, but you're not guaranteed success. So there's a lot of people on the internet, you know, that, you know, they don't get the attention they deserve. Was there anybody in the tournament that surprised you?
Oof. With knowledge or personality? Because I'll tell you what, personality-wise, there's definitely a couple of them I'm like, okay, this person's a little weird. Okay, and this person is just like the shit as far as personality. And I mean, if you were to ask me, one of my favorite people to work with, it was Lady LaDonna. I mean, I think there's a couple times I almost pissed my pants. I mean, the lady's freaking hilarious. She's down to earth. She's just out there. You know what I mean? She just, you know, she's crazy in that good way, you know, and she was just so amazing to work with. And, on that. And then Val turned into a robot. I think she kind of figured out how we were asking questions, and she just got completely impressive. All of a sudden, she just started blowing the doors off at everybody. Her first match was really close against Charlie in Westeros. After that, I think she was done fucking around, and she just went to town. I mean, she obviously was studying, and, you know, she was into this. This was something she wanted to win, and, made it very clear, you know. I mean, she, you know, I hate to throw, fuck you, Jerry, but Jerry the Dark Steamboat, who's a friend of ours, and we always give him shit, but he went against Val and he just got annihilated, and Jerry's not a dumb guy. I mean, I think the final score was like 37.
So, well, yeah, I mean, because part of what makes, people a good YouTuber or a good entertainer or anything. I mean, sometimes, it could be more charisma than knowledge. And, like you can tell, with history of, Westeros, I'm not saying they're better than any other people, but you can tell that they take a more formal approach to, their channels, and they aren't as likely to just be throwing opinion around, I guess would be the way to say it, as some of the other ones. And, I like both styles, because I do like, to hear, the videos, especially, the types of videos these guys make. These aren't the people that are making the watcher on the wall videos that are slideshows and just reading some spoilers. They talk theories, but they also break the stuff down for people. They go into the, deeper aspects of the, the fandom and the world of, Ice and Fire. So, these aren't all, I'm assuming that every single one of these 16 people, each one of them brought something different to them, but none of them, there was no dummies in the group. Maybe somebody got their butt kicked, but I mean, even, that goes for anything. You can have a bad day, I don't, nobody came here and was just, didn't know jack shit about it, I'm assuming, or did they? That'd be very, very interesting if they did.
Wow. All right. Let's call out the Kraken. I'll tell you what, one of the matches where two guys really didn't do well. See, here's the thing. I think people came into this tournament thinking we were going to ask questions like, what color is Ghost? What's the name of Arya's sword? That shit wasn't happening. We were actually kind of competing against them in the same rights. To put this together is a little more difficult than people think, because you want to have, you don't want them answering everything, and you don't want them answering nothing. And when we started this thing, people were like, holy shit, they're not playing. This is the real deal. That they have done the work and the research on this, and we definitely got that from a lot of people. These questions are not freaking easy, and they were all from the show, every bit of it. And then, we ran into problems.
You took nothing from hold on, for the people, you took only from HBO's Game of Thrones. You didn't use any of the World of Ice and Fire source material?
Not in this tournament, no.
Not in that tournament. And okay, so I mean, that does make it quite a bit easier on these guys. No way does it make it easy. But if you take the books out of the equation, you're taking a whole another intellectual property essentially out of the equation. So you were still stumping them with just show stuff.
You bet your ass.
You think that they would have said that just because, I mean, a lot of people, in this fandom, and I've read the books, and I'll tell you what, you turn into a book snob real quick. You watch that show after you read those books with your arms crossed and a smug look on your face sometimes, talking a little shit about Dan and Dave. And that's a very common thing in, this fandom that people with Thrones, there's a lot of book snobs, and I'm even guilty of it to a point, because it's not as complex, it's not as smart. So you took these people that, do you think that there was any of them that haven't read the books out of these 16? I don't need.
No, I'm not sure on that. I would think most of them have read the books. I don't know.
You didn't include them, so yeah, that would have saved some people.
You got to realize the purpose is that we started the tournament like 2 weeks after season 6 ended. So there you go. There's your, these people. If you want to get viewers, it's like, my idea was, they still want more Game of Thrones. So it's like, okay, let's do that, and we'll talk about moving forward that we are bringing the books in. Definitely think that, the tournament definitely opened the doors for people that didn't know, because we didn't just take big YouTubers. We took some small ones that I just found that I liked their content, and I'm like, what do you think about this idea? Like, I'm in, and it was that simple. So
my point at the beginning that you went after people that you honestly wanted to test their knowledge, and you got some big fish, but yeah, you had 16 people, and like the hype squad and all that, like you said before, the hype watch, my apologies, are all very talented at what they do and stuff, but they don't bring in the numbers as some people. So, and again, you can't control this. You can only control so much. And you think that there was more bonding that went on between these people than feuding between them? Was there any rifts caused?
I really don't think so. I think everybody just had a really good fucking time doing what we did. Yeah, I think everything went pretty well. I mean, there was some of them I didn't even know that really didn't. You would have thought they all knew each other in the community, but you had like when you had Jerry versus LaDonna. I mean, some of the people that did go against each other, it was like there was respect there. You know what I mean? There really was. It was, I didn't even know that some of them didn't have interaction, like, until this. And I don't know where they went from there because, like, I guess we'll talk about that. We kind of moved forward and I still keep contact with a lot of them. Some of them I don't talk to. Basically we're moving on and getting ready for another tournament, hopefully.
I know I'm dragging this out. Gary, for anybody that's lost track, and I don't blame you, we'll put up a little bracket in the video. I will. I got to ask I'm a fanboy myself, so the whole idea of this is fascinating to me because people might think that I make too big of a deal out of these people, but you go and look at a lot of these people's chats from their videos. You go and look at how many people race to be first, to just put first. On their YouTube page. All right. And, a guy that was not relatively unknown, a guy that was unknown, completely unknown. I would be fair to say, ignorance is not stupidity. So you were ignorant to the platform. You didn't know a lot about it. You had to learn as you went, but you're a smart guy, so you got it going. You had to kind of go on the fly and work with different time zones, different personalities of creative people, which it is not easy. So you really did. You did something that not a lot of people could do, and it probably didn't have a great chance at being successful, and it was really successful. So you had all these people go up against each other, and there was really not a lot of issues between it. You think, actually, a guy that was new to the community and had 12 people maybe on his channel brought people that had, 30K, 40K together that had never met and maybe made some collaborations. You did good. You actually did good for the community, and you did it when you were raising money for charity. So I want to know how the last match went with Smokescreen against Because Geek, and I want to know how it went with the charity.
Well, the final went pretty well. It kind of got delayed a little bit due to circumstances, I guess we'll say. They both.
Was there sports enhancement drugs being used?
There was availability as long with getting the editing done. I had somebody working on it, and it just took a little longer than expected. But, the final was good. I mean, we put a lot of work into that. We actually, when we were making questions, we were like, man, this is like, top level shit. So we started making them, pushing some questions off to the side. So we were saving our best shit for last. And that was the big thing that I think, with Val and all of them. I mean, even when we had, JD, again, watch that match versus, Don the Kraken. They came in there and they're like, we are not how did he say it? He said, we're going against each other, but we're not beating each other's ass. They're beating our ass, and that was funny, and I was like, now you get what we're doing. We are testing your knowledge. We are asking you everything, we threw like season questions in there. What season, what episode did this happen? Or, so on and so forth. So we were very meticulous about our question asking, and we used a lot of lesser known stuff that, for the book fans, if you pay attention to the show, there's like these little conversations that are from the book, where they mention certain people and this, that, and the other thing, and people just kind of overlook it because they're looking at the grand plot of the show. And that's what we realized we needed to do.
So you brought up, because you're right. You're talking about the nods that are given to the book characters that we don't get to see and the events that we don't get to see. Yeah, we're not doing the trivia here. I wouldn't do that. So we got Val versus Smokescreen, and I believe the winner is
Val, hands down.
Val, she did it. And was it close?
No.
Nope.
No. That's all I can say about that.
All right. We are going to be linking the videos for all this in the description, and we'll talk more about where you can find this content after. But it'll be readily available, and if you're listening to this on YouTube, you'll also be watching some of this because I'm going to ask Tarzan on the spot if he will give me permission to use his videos.
Oh, absolutely.
Binding legal agreement right there. So, all right, you did it. You got 16 people together that you had only seen on YouTube. You had no personal relationships with. You did it for charity. You raised some money from charity. You donated it to charity. You didn't walk away with $1 in your pocket, right?
No.
Did you actually, you probably spent some money, I'm assuming.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. I don't even know. I bought a new computer. I bought a new camera. You know, I bought a new everything pretty much. I mean,
that's fantastic. So what you can take out of this is that you went after something, and you came out of this with about, I believe, just under 800 subscribers, and we're gonna take a short break and talk about what happened after this tournament and what's going on with you now. This was not an easy road again for him. And he did it for a good reason. And I think it's an inspiring story, because I think a lot of people out there, especially younger people, want to get into YouTube and they want to get into podcasting or anything like this. And it's not an easy path, but, it's not like he went in here and he had his iMac and he was already, had everything set and he had great presentations for these guys. He just was himself. If you ever talk to him, if you ever have the pleasure of talking to this man in person, and I hope you can get it from this interview, you will learn that it's just, he's a good guy, and you do want to work with him and you do want to, get to know him. He's very open-minded. So that, I think that probably really helped you. And, and also, your name is Tarzan, and you're not a small man, so maybe some of these people are a little bit afraid. But no, we're going to take a short little break, and we're going to talk about life after the Game of Thrones tournament.